What is up, all of you awesome people? It is the man, the myth, the legend, By Night here, shedding light in the darkness. And today, I am going to be uploading my first What Is and Is It Good episode. Or maybe the name will just change to Is It Good? We'll see how everything goes. But today we are going to be doing a review of the game that was recently published by Galactic Cafe, known as the Stanley Parable. If you have heard of this game already, then you probably don't even need to watch this video. But if you have not heard of this game, it is very interesting, and hopefully you'll find this video super entertaining and informative. So the way that I want to set up this series is pretty simple. I want to start by introducing the game. I want to talk about it for like 30 seconds and then just give a straight up review. Like, do I think the game is good or not? And then after I give that review, we'll go more in depth. We'll show some gameplay and things like that. That way, if you just want the quick and fast, is the game good or not, then you can just watch the first part of the video. And if you want to know more about the game after I give the actual rating, then you can go on and watch the gameplay. So let's jump into the Stanley Parable. Alrighty guys, so this is Stanley Parable. Now, Stanley Parable is actually a game that was based off of a mod which was created by a man named Davey Redden. And the mod was so successful that Davey Redden actually created Galactic Cafe, partnered with a man named William Pug, but all that is not very interesting. So let's jump right into the game, and I'll show you guys kind of the intro sequence, and it'll give you a really good idea about how this game works. Now, it's really a very fun game. I would describe it as an interactive fiction game because it's more of like a story that you interact with than it is like an actual like action or fighting game. So let's listen to this intro.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alrighty guys, so that's kind of the story. This is where it puts you. But the interesting thing about the game is that every single action you take is your own. So the narrator will say something like you walk outside and you kind of like try to figure out what's going on. But if I really wanted to, I could shut this door, and then there would be narration about how I actually didn't want to go outside because I was too scared, and then the game kind of ends. But there's so many different possible endings. There's not necessarily a victory
All of his
or a
co-workers
defeat.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So, the game just told me to go to the meeting room, but I can choose actually not to go to the meeting room if I want. So, this next part is a great example.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So now, if I want to actually go to the meeting room, I can just obey him and go to the meeting room, or I can choose to instead...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
But instead, I can go right, and voila, I open up a brand new set of narration. And there are so many possible different endings, so many possible different interactions you can have with the narrator. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's really addicting. If you like games that have a lot of combat or anything like that, this probably isn't the game for you. This game simply has an interact button. You can interact with one or two different things. And there is a crouch button. And that's about it. You walk around, crouch, and you can interact with one or two things in the game. And, maybe a few more than that, but very few.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
But yeah, so if this type of game interests you, then I would definitely recommend it. It's really fun. It kind of blows away.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Yeah, it kind of makes fun of the normal type of game where you listen to a narrator and just play through the story, and that's really interesting.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
So, as you can see, the narrator gets very sarcastic at some points, and it's actually really funny. I've played through quite a lot of it, and it makes
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
This game, it makes me happy when I play it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys will pick this up. You can pick it up on Steam. It's really fun. I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my first episode of What Is and Is It Good? And if you have input on how I can make the next episodes better, let me know. And subscribe if you would like more videos like this. I'm hoping I'm making this a constant series on my channel. So I'll talk to you guys all later.